That's some hoops.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Can USA overtake Canada and get that gold, Joe?
Absolutely, they can here. And ultimately, it feels like that is the two-horse race. And I think ultimately, Canadians don't really care if their team competes in the luge or the bobsled, Donnie, or anything else. They just want that gold when it comes to ice hockey. And that is the only thing that's going to matter there.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
They cheated.
No, they're not saying
Right?
that. Well, they're not, but they're not really giving a reason on Kraft.
The only two of the voters I've seen, maybe it's more, came out and said why they didn't vote for him. And they said, I'm limited to 3 votes.
Yeah.
And I will always pick a player over a coach or an owner.
Right.
By the way, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because that's the guy saying, I'm not afraid of you knowing who I picked. I'm going to tell you why I picked him.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
But I will say, at 4.5 and over, I've been with covers for 20 plus years now. I've been betting for a long time. When it comes to 4 and 4.5 point spreads, if I'm looking at the favorite, I do not lay the points. I go straight to the money line, knowing that it's minus 200. This has been a no man's land for football betting in the NFL, basically since 2015, since they moved the point after touchdown back.
In-game live, only on
Time decisions. Great to be with you on a Monday night on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh live from the decisions desk as we have plenty, of course, to make tonight. It's a really, really good slate here to get you up off your feet after a Super Bowl hangover, I am sure, for many. The college basketball card features a top 10 showdown in the Big 12. The Arizona Wildcats looking to stay unbeaten. They have to go to Kansas to play Darren Peterson and the Jayhawks. This is a 2.5 point number right now towards Arizona. An interesting game, one I've actually gone a little back and forth on, but we do have some action in, and we will talk through that. You do have Louisville in a highly contested ACC battle. This NC State team is starting to live up to expectations. You could argue they could have been ranked here in the most recent AP poll that did come out. The Cardinals stay ranked right now at 17-6. We will see who gets the better of this game in the ACC. Louisville, a pretty decent favorite. 6.5s are up to 7.5s now in some of the market. The first game that you will see featuring ranked action is a St. John's team who closed out the weekend, or I guess the week, if you will, in style, that Friday victory over UConn. Sitting now 11-1 in Big East play. It is the Pitino Bowl at the Garden, where Rick will look to take out his son and complete a season sweep over Xavier. I have action in all 3 of our ranked college games tonight. Excited to go through that board. NBA steps up as well. I would argue the late game will likely get a lot of the action. It's the Lakers and the Thunder, though. 2 MVP candidates out for each of these teams because, I don't know, All-Star break, bad luck, a little bit of A, a little bit of B, feels possible. But no Shea, no Luka, still some juice for me in that game. I think the argument for game of the night, it's the best team in the Eastern Conference up against the Detroit Pistons. I mean, it's sitting right there. These Charlotte Hornets are going for what would be their 10th straight win. They are still 3 games under 500. This is, since January 1st, the number 1 team in net rating versus number 2. Charlotte is number 1. The number 1 offense since 2026 began, the Charlotte Hornets. Though, the number 1 defense since 2026 began is the Detroit Pistons. A really, really fun game to break down, and one that we will dive into. Some good action with Atlanta and Minnesota. Who did what to make the primetime early game be Orlando-Milwaukee? That is disgusting. We do have Denver-Cleveland as well, with James Harden playing in his second game as a Cleveland Cavalier. So really, a really good NBA slate, really, really good college slate. We will, of course, though, be talking about the Seattle Seahawks winning the Super Bowl 29-13. They cover plenty of alts as well in the process. Game stays under after quite the scare for underbackers who had themselves a delightful opening 3 quarters. Saw this thing start to go off the rails. And if not for a holding penalty, I mean, Walker's in the end zone on a 49-yard touchdown that would have put this game, assume they kicked the extra point, 36-13. At that point, who knows how lax the defense could have been on the Seattle side. I mean, this thing, it felt like we were about to get into the mid-50s all of a sudden. It stays under the number, as it should have. I think underbettors deserved that look. These defenses were excellent. These quarterbacks, well, the schedule, I mean, it's hard to argue. It's hard to argue. Drake May, all 4 playoff games, disappointing. Below the standard he had set for himself in the regular season. We know that. Led the NFL in passer rating in the regular season at 113.5. More than 30 points lower, his passer rating in the postseason. His QBR, 77.1. You guessed it. Led all quarterbacks down to a 40 in the postseason. And the schedule talk will stick with Drake May and the New England Patriots going into next year. You can see it in their prices to win next year's Super Bowl. The books did not feel obligated to make New England the 2nd or 3rd or 4th or 5th or 6th or 7th or 8th or 9th option to win it. They just sneak inside the top 10 for next year, the New England Patriots. Hard to argue. Maybe one impressive offensive showing, we'd feel a bit different. Drake May had 4 opportunities to show us, hey, I can be the driving force of a big postseason win. 0 for 4. Golden sombrero. Mike Vrabel, I think, quit in the middle of the game. One of the most obvious go-for-2 decisions you'll ever see, down 19-0, kicks the extra point. What'd you have, a 9-7 Super Bowl box, Mike? I really cannot figure that one out. Glad we gave him Coach of the Year instead of Mike McDonald, superstar. Argument for not just Coach of the Year, which he deserved. Best coach in football, has the argument. I mean, how many guys even really have the case? Andy Reid, that's more of a legacy thing, though. I don't even think Kansas City fans are looking to make that argument right now. Rams fans would mention McVay. And you could mention how McVay's offense looked against McDonald's defense in 2 of those 3 meetings. And with a Super Bowl for McVay, 2 appearances, I think it's a fun conversation. I think it's very on the board. If we do a coach draft, hey, next 10 years, let's start drafting coaches. First pick, second pick, third pick might just be NFC West, and NFC West. Maybe that's too kind of Kyle Shanahan, but I'll tell you who's not getting in that top 3, Nick Sirianni, despite those multiple Super Bowl appearances. I mean, he just isn't. I mean, Sirianni going undrafted. We got offensive coordinators flying off the board before old St. Nick. Listen, I don't know. It's a coach draft. Coach draft broke out. People are asking for my big board. What do you want me to do? For Seattle, the biggest winner in this game to me is McDonald. I think he put himself into another stratosphere. I think so. Maybe Darnold, though, is the biggest winner, despite the fact that he did not really anything in the game. Didn't look really good in the game. But, people can't help themselves. Sam Darnold, second best quarterback in the NFC. Oh, that's... What? Why is that a thing? Why are we doing that now? That's not true. At all. At all. Speaking of next year's Super Bowl odds, Seattle booked as the favorites. So, I believe that Seattle should be in this mix. Great defense. I just said I think McDonald's a superstar as a head coach. Who is betting the Seattle Seahawks to repeat? It might be the least bet Super Bowl favorite in NFL history. Here's a prediction right off the bat, and then we're going to get into this college basketball slate because it's fantastic tonight. The Seahawks will not be the Super Bowl betting favorite in September. It's not going to happen. Either Joshy Boy and Buffalo will get up there, Lamar's lurking, maybe Howie Roseman's got another move in him. I mean, it's on the board, right? I mean, could Green Bay get Max Crosby? Come on, folks.
Selling it to a minority ownership group that could show the NFL is moving in the right direction. Hey, it's one thing to talk about black coaches in the National Football League. It's one thing to talk about black general managers. It's another thing to start talking about a minority owner owning the football team.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
They actually play Miami and nobody else. Bum after bum after bum. Now, the key ingredient to this clause, though, Joe, college football undefeated season. Ooh, no, wait, Donnie. You go undefeated in the regular season, you got to win like 4 games to win that championship. No, you don't. It's regular season. Notre Dame, the kings of duck, and saying, hey, we're going to play the easiest schedule ever. They got it.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
The money line keeps climbing, though, if you'll notice.
Yes.
The point spread hasn't moved. It's been locked in at 4.5. The money line, though, keeps creeping up, man. It was 210, and it's funny because normally you figure the number would be correlated, right? It's like, all right, the money line, the point spread's this, that means the money line is that, which tells us there's a lot of money line plays coming in on Seattle.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
He completed a pool bank shot at just 2 years and 302 days. His achievements make him one of the youngest double record holders ever. So let me summarize this for you without reading. He's 2 years old, and he's really good at pool. I mean, that is crazy. 2 years old! How is he doing this? I have no idea. So I guess we got to start training our youngsters to play pool. Okay, fair enough.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, let's get after this college basketball board. Kansas, Arizona, no doubt the biggest game. I do want to start with St. John Xavier. That game's going to tip off in 15 minutes. And I like this game a lot. I will tell you guys this. Potentially as early as tomorrow, we will be betting another college basketball future. Now, I'm not going to, do a long tease here in that it's on the board. I wait until the bracket's set. The starting point is Florida, but there are boosts now out there from different sports books, like, hey, 50% or any college team you want. I'm sure some of you are out there holding free bets from yesterday's Super Bowl. You know we love throwing those into the futures market. We're lurking, okay? We will at least probably address the topic tomorrow on good investment spots. St. John's is interesting to me, which I did not think was going to be the case. I thought the UConn win was awesome. I think Zuby Ejiofor is really, really finding himself. Preseason Big East Player of the Year. Feels like an, at the moment, top 10 guy trending upwards. Dylan Mitchell's come on. Ian Jackson's playing better ball. Bryce Hopkins now, where we're like, hey, could he be like their best guy or like a 1B? He just like settles in nicely as a part of this mix here. The defense is getting better. The tempo still is still brilliant. So there is, it's a team that's playing really, really well. And I think that carries over here against Xavier. But I don't know if the defensive effort in what it projects to be a super up and down game will be there to cover this big number. So I'm on a Johnny's team total over 88.5. It was about minus 105. The total's been dropping throughout the day underneath now that 160 number. So check in, see where you can get the best of that number. But I'm on a St. John's team total over against Xavier, 88.5. And then we get to Arizona, Kansas. Speaking of futures. We've talked about this a few times. I have, thought about Kansas in the futures market for months and months and months, it feels like at this point. And I've largely come to terms with the reality that it's not going to happen for me with them due to my lack of trust in Darren Peterson's collegiate health, which is a shame. But I at least feel vindicated because it is so clear that this team in Kansas can be championship level. Flory Badunga is one of the most impactful defensive players in the sport who is getting better and better on the offensive side of the ball. The time played without Peterson was invaluable for Melvin Council as well as Trey White. Bryson Tiller looks like a better ball player as the season progresses. And then it's possible they have, certainly in any given game, the best player on the court. When we recap the 5 best moments of at least the college basketball regular season, Darren Peterson's first half against BYU will make that list. So we know what he can be. But trusting it in the futures market, especially now that the number just keeps dropping as they keep winning, I can't do. What's remarkable, though, is tonight feels like the moment where they can prove all of it correct. Kansas is up to 9th right now in the AP poll. On KenPom, they're up to 13th. Their offense took a big hit because they played one of the most disgusting games you'll ever watch a team win by double digits offensively against Utah. Utah cannot guard. Kansas was like, what if we let them guard us? It was, I don't know. I could not believe what I was watching from them in that game. So their offense took a hit. The numbers took a hit and deserved. The test against Arizona tonight, though, right? With a win here, it feels like the Jayhawks all of a sudden, from a national championship perspective, could find themselves with top 5 or 6 odds. And again, they're not super far off it as is. They're inside that top 10. And I think as someone who looked at this game and thought, I'm betting Kansas, I realized that it felt like a lot for this team to play them here and now, to stamp it, if you will. I feel like there should almost be a somewhat surprise element to whenever this first Arizona loss comes, and it is going to come. And Arizona losing here wouldn't be that surprising. If you look at how this team is running, I mean, it's just been dominant. But what is remaining is probably multiple losses. Everyone will be backing this team to, sweep Tech and BYU at home. I'll tell you, if they get Kansas tonight, I won't be. At Houston's never a field day. Nor is Baylor. I don't care what anybody says, at least on the road. And then still hosting Kansas and Iowa State. That is, in that remaining games, so 8 of those games, They are playing top 25 teams in 6 of them. It's wild how tough the remaining schedule is for the number 1 team in the conference. It does let us know, though, that the number 1 team in the conference is probably right now propped up more by what they did out of conference than in the Big 12. The wins against Florida, UConn, Auburn, Bama. Because in the Big 12, it's BYU and then it's at TCU, right? So it's a little interesting. I went back and forth just too long on the side. As I looked through more and more in this game, I settled on and felt comfortable on an Arizona team total over 77.5. This total's been climbing throughout the day. I don't disagree. I think that Arizona's pace will dictate this more than a Kansas pace. I think the Jayhawks will be playing a different caliber of offense than they've played tonight. And I'm not sure what to expect from Kansas offensively. So it's why I'm not playing the side or the full game total. And I'm locking in on an Arizona offense that I understand Oklahoma State's not the caliber. I get it. Arizona scored 84 in a game where they shot 2 of 14 from 3 and 16 of 25 from the line. I think they are in the 80s tonight against Kansas, and we'll see how the Jayhawks can respond on the other side. After the break, not just my best bets, crew best bets, which are littered into Kansas, Arizona, plus some NBA breakdowns here on SportsGrid.
How about selling it to a minority ownership group that could show the NFL is moving in the right direction? Hey, it's one thing to talk about black coaches in the National Football League. It's one thing to talk about black general managers. It's another thing to start talking about a minority owner owning the football team.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
They actually play Miami and nobody else. Bum after bum after bum. Now, the key ingredient to this clause, though, Joe, college football undefeated season. Ooh, no, wait, Donnie. You're undefeated in the regular season. You got to win like 4 games to win that championship. No, you don't. It's regular season. Notre Dame, the kings of duck, and saying, hey, we're going to play the easiest schedule ever. They got it.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
The money line keeps climbing, though, if you'll notice.
Yes.
The point spread hasn't moved. It's been locked in at 4.5. The money line, though, keeps creeping up, man. It was 210, and it's funny because normally you figure the number would be correlated, right? It's like, all right, the money line, the point spread's this, that means the money line is that, which tells us there's a lot of money line plays coming in on Seattle.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
He completed a pool bank shot at just 2 years and 302 days. His achievements make him one of the youngest double record holders ever. So let me summarize this for you without reading. He's 2 years old, and he's really good at pool. I mean, that is crazy. 2 years old! How is he doing this? I have no idea. So I guess we got to start training our youngsters to play pool. Okay, fair enough.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, back with you here on Game Time Decisions. I want to go to the best bet board here for myself and the group tonight. Mine is already on the board. I have a few that I could pick out from. We're going to go through all of them, of course, but I figured let's go to the big game, which is Arizona and their team total over the 77.5. I like what the fellas have here as well, though, okay? AJ's on Kansas money line. I was going to be there with him. I maybe chickened out. I'll be rooting him in, though. I will be, okay? And Sam Wiley, the sports guy, on Darren Peterson for 25 plus. I might tail. I don't know. Might be on a Super Bowl high. Might tail. You know what? Chris, Darren Williams, 15 plus, bounce back spot. look, find the best juice on that. D. Will's in a bounce-back spot. I like the look. I do. You know who's also in a bounce-back spot? Mikael Brown. I played him over the 14.5, 15+. Could be a little 15-15 two-step, hey, now. Don't be scared. I am on Mikael Brown over 14.5 in that game between Louisville and NC State. Brown getting back from injury has needed to shake off a little bit of the rust, but he now has played 2 straight ugly games, combined 3 of 17 from the floor, 2 of 12 from 3. I think we see one of those 20-plus nights from Mikael Brown Jr. As he starts to get back into a rhythm here and meet the moment in a bigger game. Well, again, is almost a top 25 game, really. When you look at the receiving votes category, NC State is inside that top 30. So this is a big-time matchup here for Louisville in the ACC. That's where the best bet column goes. So just a reminder, College Card coming up. Louisville, right, 7 o'clock. We mentioned Mikael Brown. Of course, Arizona, Kansas State. But 6:30, give me that St. John's team total over 88.5 against Xavier. Excited for that one at Madison Square Garden. It's a sneaky good night for basketball in New York as you get the St. John's Red Storm playing at Madison Square Garden and the beautiful brand new Chicago Bulls coming to the Barclays Center. I love this Bulls team. They might stink. I don't care. They are a treat. They traded for a new roster. No one can guard. Everyone wants to dribble and shoot threes. It is beautiful. It's paradise. Listen, everyone talks about league pass favorites. They are now number 1 with a bullet. It's just Jaden Ivey's turn, then Simon's turn, then Rob Dillingham off the bench's turn, then what's that, Colin Sexton? Sexton just got 14 shots. I love it. They played 2 games since the deadline, attempted 49 threes in one and 51 in another. But they're not all like beautifully well-found threes. It's some of that, yeah, come and get it. And I just love this Bulls team. I don't think they can guard much. I think they actually do have, though, a higher offensive floor due to how many threes they're going to take. The Nets don't have Michael Porter Jr. I laid the 4. The last time they played without MPJ, I know it's Detroit, they scored 77 points. They average barely over 100 a game when Michael Porter Jr. doesn't play. And the Nets are off a win. And this would be getting them a season series 3-1 victory over Chicago. Cut it out. I like the Bulls laying 4. Lakers, Thunder. I'm laying it. I know what you're thinking. Most unbiased man history sports media does it again. You're darn right. You're darn right he does. But also, you might be thinking, I feel like you've been annoyed with the Lakers recently, so is this most unbiased man history of sports media material? And that's a good question as well. I'm going to have to talk to the governing body about that question. We're laying the 6.5 regardless, though, okay? This is a spot to me where OKC, we're seeing like near bottom of the market. Jalen Williams is back in this game. I know SGA is out. SGA versus Luka to the point spread. Is that a break even? I think Luka could arguably, in this specific matchup, actually be more valuable to the point spread. This Lakers team was hardly booked as home favorites when they just played against Golden State, who does not have Steph Curry or Jimmy Butler or Kristaps, who maybe will never play for them. I still don't understand that move entirely. Or if Kristaps plays basketball. The Thunder off 2 losses in a row. I think we're getting a light number tonight. I think that defense gets the job done against the Lakers. Reeves still working his way back from injury. This should be a spot where OKC handles business. And then the other pick that's on the board right now for the NBA, we'll talk some Pistons and Hornets in a little bit. Wolves-Hawks, combo boards over the 22.5, Jalen Johnson, Rudy Gobert. I believe your current juice on that is minus 108. That juice has been getting better throughout the day. I really like that number. To me, each man's going to be at 10, and then we kind of go from there. It's a double bounce back spot for Jalen Johnson and Rudy Gobert. We'll talk more NBA with Coach James Young in a bit, but now we bring in NFL insider Adam Kaplan. The fallout from Super Bowl 60, the Seattle Seahawks as your champs after the break.
about selling it to a minority ownership group that could show the NFL is moving in the right direction. Hey, it's one thing to talk about black coaches in the National Football League. It's one thing to talk about black general managers. It's another thing to start talking about a minority owner owning the football team.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
They actually play Miami and nobody else. Bum after bum after bum. Now, the key ingredient to this clause, though, Joe, college football undefeated season. Ooh, no, wait, Donnie. You go undefeated in the regular season, you got to win like 4 games to win that championship. No, you don't. It's regular season. Notre Dame, the kings of duck, and saying, hey, we're going to play the easiest schedule ever. They got it.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
The money line keeps climbing, though, if you'll notice.
Yes.
The point spread hasn't moved. It's been locked in at 4.5. The money line, though, keeps creeping up, man. It was 210, and it's funny because normally you figure the number would be correlated, right? It's like, all right, the money line, the point spread's this, that means the money line is that, which tells us there's a lot of money line plays coming in on Seattle.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
He completed a pool bank shot at just 2 years and 302 days. His achievements make him one of the youngest double record holders ever. So let me summarize this for you without reading. He's 2 years old, and he's really good at pool. I mean, that is crazy. 2 years old! How is he doing this? I have no idea. So I guess we got to start training our youngsters to play pool. Okay, fair enough.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions back here on a Monday night. We're joined by NFL insider Adam Kaplan. Cap, it's been great talking to you throughout the season. We talked a little briefly during the game where it's like there's going to be no points in this. There was a brief moment, Cap, where we had an over on our hands. I'm just so curious from either your own eyes or anybody you spoke to, what was the biggest takeaway from the Seahawks win last night?
Exactly what I let off with my notes yesterday. What did I tell you the biggest factor would be? Could they handle the Seahawks pass rush? The answer is no. And here now, this is going to come up because I know it's going to be a factor for the fan base in New England. But is Will Campbell still going to be their left tackle going forward? I mean, it's insane. 14 quarterback pressures, 2 sacks. The Patriots in the playoffs, Kevin, gave up 21 sacks. That just can't happen. Now, one thing I'll defend them with. Drake May held on to the ball way too long. He was indecisive at times. There were some times when it was well protected. You got to get rid of the football. He needs to play with a better sense of timing. It's just not acceptable. He had a bad game. And I know you question why I voted for Stafford. Now, I understand all the voting for the awards, whether it's AP award, Pro Football Writers. It's a regular season award. It has nothing to do with the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But just visually, Kevin, you see the lack of experience with May in handling a big moment. I know he had a bad right shoulder, which he talked about after the game, which we're going to keep an eye on this offseason. He said he took a pain-killing injection, which tells you there's something going on there.
Yeah.
Get him through the game. But, man, they just didn't show up. Now, one thing on the total. You know by my email, I love the first half under. What you need to know is, just talking to coaches in front office executives for big games, particularly the Super Bowl, there's a feeling out process. Teams they want to see if there's anything new you're trying to do to us. It's just, if you like it under, the first half is the play. Now, why does the game typically go over? Even last year, the Kansas City game was going way under against Philly. But what happens is when the team that's down a lot gets the football, they're throwing the football. Yeah. And the defense is going to play way off. They're going to give up a lot of room and spacing. And I told you, one of the reasons why I like Matt Collins, he's the only deep threat that they have. They covered it real well the first time. The second time they didn't. And you're right. It actually went over, but the Walker touchdown got called back. So it's a learning experience, Kevin. Just put this in your memory bank. Is that especially for the fantasy props, why did I like Stevenson? I knew they'd be behind, though I thought it'd be closer, truth told. I knew he was going to get the checkdowns, and that's exactly what happened.
So there's so many interesting elements of this game, Cap, but I do think for New England, one of the questions I had asked you yesterday between Vrabel, McDaniels, and May is who would be the most important, and it feels as if, though, all three of them can look themselves in the mirror and say, yep, I stunk. I was terrible. But with May, you're like, wow, could my play callers help me? Offensive line isn't great, right? McDaniels maybe goes, my quarterback's got jitters, my offensive line isn't great. I got to tell you, Cap, and listen, he'll bounce back. He'll have a long career. I think Mike Vrabel should be ashamed of himself, quite frankly. The decision to not go for 2 on that first touchdown showed to me a coach who completely checked out of the game and was shell-shocked.
He was not Kevin, with Mike Vrabel. First of all, you have to know situationally where you are. And there are usually data guys in the coach's box that will tell you, hey, we need to go for 2 here. The book says go for 2. He's got to know situation where they are. That was bad. I totally agree. I'm with everyone in the country who watched the game like, dude, why aren't you going for 2?
Yeah.
So that was, and obviously that would get closer to going over the total for those people like the over. I'm not dumb, dude. I did, as you know, you saw the things I picked.
Yeah.
I felt pretty, although after 1 quarter, I'm like, man, I'm going to get this all wrong and this is embarrassing. But circumstances helped me, no doubt. But New England didn't show up. I never should have changed my pick. I got kind of like, okay, if they could just protect in average fashion.
Yep.
This is going to be a high-scoring game. And in fact, May would have played better, but they couldn't protect. And it wasn't just Will Campbell had a terrible game, yes, but their interior had problems. They had problems with the stun concepts that Seattle brought with Mike McDonald. It's not like it's new to them, but they brought out some new wrinkles. It was just a absolute disaster. I'm so disappointed, but you know what? They had a season that no one thought they would have, including yours truly. I picked them to win 8 games. Oops.
So on the Seattle side,
yeah,
the win is so remarkable. It's going to lead to a lot of conversations, you know this, around Sam Darnold, where he ranks within the league. Ultimately, who cares they won the Super Bowl is the idea. You would know better than me. Do they now this offseason work out some extension with Sam Darnold just to lock it? I don't know if I don't feel like, is he already locked up? Like,
he is.
Ken Walker, the Super Bowl MVP? I know they have to figure that piece of it out as well, right?
Yeah, all right. So let's go to the former. I actually have Darnold's contract right in front of me. So Darnold is signed through 2027. Now he's owed just $27.5 million in 26. Based on the way he played, Kevin, this is a good point you're making. Only $15 million of it's fully guaranteed. The reason why he's got the structure is because he closed his situation with Minnesota poorly after 80% of the season playing great. He closed poorly. John Schneider, the GM, the great GM of the Seahawks, in his first season under personnel control, I've talked to Snyder before in his office. He does smart contracts, a lot of the same structure he got from Green Bay. And in 2027, the cash goes up to $35.5 million, but no guaranteed money. Now, it is probably a bargain right now, Kevin. It's a fair point. He's still very young, and quarterbacks, he's not even 30 yet. He's been pretty durable in his career. It's just that before he got to Minnesota, he'd been mostly terrible. And now the guy's a baller. And I know it doesn't look good in the stats. He made some good throws. He showed incredible toughness. By the way, the Seattle offensive line didn't play great either. Neither line played great. And that's why, honestly, the total for 3 quarters of the game was so low because the passing numbers were terrible. Until New England got way behind, you saw what happened. They got some sense of urgency. And by the way, good for those people who got the Drake May over 1.5 touchdowns. Good job by you. You guys got lucky, but it counts.
Hey, it counts, Cap. It sure counts.
Yep.
It was. Everyone was celebrating, and I was like, wait until the extra point team's out or whatever, because I was worried they were going to say it hit the ground. Like I was like, I can't deal with the moment.
I don't know how Stevenson caught it. And they showed it. If you saw, they showed it a lot.
Yeah.
Look, covering this 27 of these, this was just not a great game. But for those of you with the prop bets and totals bets, hopefully you had the under, and hopefully you had some guys getting the ball when they probably shouldn't have gotten the ball. But it is what it is. But also, Kenneth Walker's up now. Another one more to give you, Seattle with Cooper Kupp. He's
Hmm.
also signed through 2027. The $13.5 million is his total cash number. But the big decision they have to make is on March 16th, the fifth day of the league year. $9 million becomes fully guaranteed of the $13.5 million. So they have a major decision to make. And let's face it, Jake Bobo is a nice backup. They don't have a lot of depth at receiver.
See, that's tough, right? Because it sounds like a lot for Kupp, but they also don't have a lot. It's one of the reasons JSN had the prolific year, right? Cap is he had he needed all those targets. Can I ask you, just when you look now, I think highly of Hurts, but across the league circles, it's split. Your last two Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, it's Darnold, it's Hurts. Is there some recalibration around the league that this is not it's not a one-man team? You don't, hey, Josh Allen can win games on his own. Cool.
Yeah.
That's not the way to actually win maybe right now in this league?
Well, they won because of their running game at times, their defense, which was mostly elite, and Darnold still played really well this season. It's you talk about rankings. Darnold is clearly in my upper half, but to be in the top 10, you've got to continue to play well. You can't play well for just about a season and 3 quarters. It's not enough.
Yeah, I think Darnold has put himself in terms of a very secure place within this league. I don't think we have to pretend he's one of the 7 best quarterbacks in football. That'd be great. I agree with you. Cap, we'll be right back here. It's Game Time Decisions. We are live on SportsGrid.
How about selling it to a minority ownership group that could show the NFL is moving in the right direction? Hey, it's one thing to talk about black coaches in the National Football League. It's one thing to talk about black general managers. It's another thing to start talking about a minority owner owning the football team.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
They actually play Miami and nobody else. Bum after bum after bum. Now, the key ingredient to this clause, though, Joe, college football undefeated season. Ooh, no, wait, Donnie. You undefeated in the regular season, you got to win like 4 games to win that championship. No, you don't. It's regular season. Notre Dame, the kings of duck, and saying, hey, we're going to play the easiest schedule ever. They got it.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
The money line keeps climbing, though, if you'll notice.
Yes.
The point spread hasn't moved. It's been locked in at 4.5. The money line, though, keeps creeping up, man. It was 210, and it's funny because normally you figure the number would be correlated, right? It's like, all right, the money line, the point spread's this, that means the money line is that, which tells us there's a lot of money line plays coming in on Seattle.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
He completed a pool bank shot at just 2 years and 302 days. His achievements make him one of the youngest double record holders ever. So let me summarize this for you without reading. He's 2 years old, and he's really good at pool. I mean, that is crazy. 2 years old! How is he doing this? I have no idea. So I guess we got to start training our youngsters to play pool. Okay, fair enough.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid. We are joined by NFL insider Adam Kaplan, talking largely through last night's Super Bowl and the fallout from that game, but also now we kind of turn that page, right, towards a new league year, and there's going to be a lot of interesting names to watch and to look at. One bit of just housekeeping, Cap, I feel like everybody's on the same page, but you look at those next year's Super Bowl odds. Seattle's at the top. Favorites, fine. Rams right behind them. Stafford coming back. We're 100% on that?
I mean, he said he wants to play. They what they'll do is they'll look at his contract, and they'll just have to make sure they're going to have to make sure both sides are happy with it. But
Mm-hmm.
there's no reason. Stafford was incredible. I remember he had 28 straight touchdowns without a pick. He hasn't lost anything. I was going to say earlier, I was talking about Darnold, and we're seeing it with so many different quarterbacks. Kurt Warner did it. Rich Gannon played until his late 30s. In fact, Gannon told me had he not had the neck injury, he probably would have played until his 40s. You've seen it now with Favre, Rodgers, Brady. Yeah, it's just Stafford. It's really up to him how long he wants to play. But what the Rams have to do, and by the way, they're a top 3 drafting team. That's how they're graded around the league, from what I'm told. They eventually have to start looking at his replacement, because he's been incredibly durable since he's been a Ram, but he had a number of injuries with the Lions, and we're a couple years away from 40 here, so got to look at that. But they're really good. They got exposed in the secondary. That was a big problem. It was actually a big problem during the season, but a lot of teams didn't expose it. They got exposed. Yeah. Seattle's got to be the favorite, but after that, it's New England. I'll be honest with you. I mean, of course, we're in February now.
Mm-hmm.
New England's got it. They've got a lot of work to do to make another run. They're away. To me, they're far away. They kind of stuck up on everyone. Their schedule obviously is going to be harder. To me, they've got a lot of work to do. They don't have a ton of free agents, but the roster again is not great. They just overachieved and great coaching.
Yeah, books agree, by the way. They're just inside the top 10 for next year's Super Bowl odds. When you compare that to where Seattle is, the books see it similarly right now. Just on the subject of older quarterbacks, Cap, and I'm a little surprised by this. Maybe you'll know the relationship. I mean, you'll definitely know the relationship better than I would. But people are saying the signs are pointing to Aaron Rodgers being back in Pittsburgh and actually being alongside Mike McCarthy for his first year as the Steelers head coach?
Well, they want him back. There's no question they want him back. They're looking for a bridge for a year until they could figure it out what their quarterback situation is. Because you remember, I mean, after Roethlisberger retired, it's been an absolute nightmare. They missed badly on Kenny Pickett. They've been through a number of quarterbacks. And Rodgers, I know the two things that I'm told. They love the way that he processed what he was asked to do. And two, the leadership part. That, look, you could say whatever you want about Rodgers, politics, whatever, off the field you don't don't like, whoever is watching the show. But inside their building, and the Jets told me the same thing. Great leadership, got the players to rally around him, and he still moves well enough. Now, you worry about the injuries have piled up. That's a problem. But Kevin, other than Kirk Cousins is going to be cut, the free agent list is terrible. And as I told you a couple months ago, Mac Jones the Niners are going to have interest. They don't want to trade him because he's only going to cost them $4 million. That's a great number for a backup quarterback who was phenomenal filling in for Brock Purdy. Of course, they don't want to trade him, but they'll see if they get calls and what teams are interested in. But good luck trying to get a quarterback. So, and also, you had asked me a great question last week. After Mendoza, what's it look like? Where would he be if this had been a great class? I told you in the 20s, he would not be anywhere close to the top 10. He's a good quarterback, don't get me wrong. Definitely would go in the first round in any draft. But he's not elite. He's just not that guy. But guess what? He could still be a very good quarterback.
Speaking of Mendoza, Kubiak, kind of announces last night he'll be the Raiders head coach. It's kind of funny how that all, I don't know if that's allowed, tampering, whatever. But one thing that a couple of guys recently went through out of Philadelphia when they, both OC and DC, were hired following the Super Bowl, and Gannon and Steichen. Now Clint Kubiak goes through. Cap, how hard or what kind of challenges will there be for Clint Kubiak in building a staff this late in the game?
It's a good question. So you and I discussed this last week, and I'll just update it a little bit. So basically the way it works is there's some friends of his who are almost certain to join the staff that they know they're on the staff. They don't have to worry about it. But you're not going to be able to solve every coaching challenge. Like, you're not going to have your whole staff hired immediately. Plus, you have the Rooney Rule, which means you have to interview 2 minorities. You just have to go through all the protocols. And this is really late. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, I remember your Eagles, they didn't get a receivers coach in 2019. It was Gunter Brewer. They got him after, who was a legend from the college ranks, who's back there now. He only was with the Eagles for 1 year, but they didn't hire him until after the combine. So yeah, it's going to be hard. And look, it's about developing Mendoza, who's highly probable to be their first pick, with the first pick overall, and finally get that quarterback. And then you got to make a decision what they're going to do with Max Crosby. was coming off knee surgery. He had the ankle surgery the year before. Excuse me, the ankle injury the year before. And what kind of market he's going to have? That's something to watch, because you could say what you want as he's getting older. He's had injuries, but this is a premier pass rusher, and they're in a total rebuild. I told you that before the season. For people thought take the over with Pete Carroll. I said, listen, I get it. People are thinking this is going to be Mike Vrabel. Bad rosters can't lie. There was a bad roster. The running back Genty was nowhere close to what they thought. No, it was only his first year. And Kubiak starts with the run. That's the kind of offense that he runs. It's really mirroring Kyle Shanahan, and that's what you're going to get. And of course, his dad Gary Kubiak. It's all about the running game, so they'll be fine.
I think what's going to be fascinating for a team like Vegas is to see what they do with that win total, because the people, and you're right, there were a lot of people who said, oh, Pete Carroll, Geno Smith, this is going to better quarterback, better coach. Ironically, I think not all time, but where we are now, Kubiak's a better coach, Mendoza's a better quarterback. Low win totals come in, right? Could that team win? Do they open at 3.5, 4.5? Could they win 5 or 6? I think they're going to be one of the interesting teams, Cap.
A lot of cap space, which is nice, but the big thing is that they're picking high in every round. And that's the thing. But they're so far away. They have the NFL's worst roster, and all you have to do is go up. Like if they would have had the Giants roster, which totally underachieved this past season,
right?
That's an 8 or 9 win team with a rookie quarterback. But
yeah,
the Raiders roster is bad.
Great stuff. NFL insider Adam Kaplan, Coach James Young up next.
Selling it to a minority ownership group that could show the NFL is moving in the right direction. Hey, it's one thing to talk about black coaches in the National Football League. It's one thing to talk about black general managers. It's another thing to start talking about a minority owner owning the football team.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Aaron Peterson right now is minus 300 to be the top pick in the NBA draft. And anybody that saw the game on Saturday, you saw his vicious dunk, and you saw his explosiveness, and he hung 18 points up on the board in the first half, right? What did he do in the second half? Ask Bill Self. Why did he come out of the game? What did Bill Self say? I don't know. Ask him. This is where we're at right now.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
David Tyree.
Oh, wow.
The 2008 Giants win against the New England Patriots, and the Tyree catch of the Plaxico Burst game-winning touchdown. That was the only other time in Super Bowl history where the betting public won money.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions here on SportsGrid. Hornets Pistons tips off, and I guess what would be 15 minutes, 7 o'clock listed time. The NBA games tip off about 10 minutes into the hour. This is a game that, if you look at it on the surface, right, it's the best record in the conference at 38-13. It's the second best record in basketball. By the way, OKC is 40-13. They're a loss away from tying last year's loss total. Just a little update on them. Right? So it's one of the best teams in basketball against an under 500 team. And you're like, 2.5, right? Detroit, it's not that they're missing guys. Ron Holland being out isn't nothing. Defensively really, really starting to piece it together as a sophomore. But this is a matchup between the number 1 and number 2 team in net rating since the start of January. That is not a small sample size. That is 20 Charlotte Hornet games and 18 Pistons games. And that's pretty much where everybody lands on these things. And Charlotte is the number 1 offense in that stretch. Detroit's the number 1 defense in that stretch. And we were having a conversation kind of as a team before the show. How many teams right now, today, go to Charlotte and are booked as favorites? Obviously, Detroit. We imagine OKC, even likely without a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. San Antonio, typically with the way that we see them booked, right? And they recently went to Charlotte and laid 3.5. Also lost that game. Houston? Knicks? Probably. It's a small list. The Hornet situation is, again, I am struggling to remember something like it. But when you see that team booked at 25-1 to win the East, it's not ridiculous. It's not. They have the best net rating in it's over a 10. It's like an 11, the best net rating in basketball since January 1st. So we'll see how long it goes on, but there's elements of it that make sense. It's like, oh yeah, LaMelo Ball, all-star caliber guy, actually on the court. That'll help. Brandon Miller in his 3rd year. Yep, starting to look like a number 2 pick. Oh, and also wasn't on the court to start the year. Con Knippel has a real case for Rookie of the Year. It's not a gimmick. He's not going to win it. I think Cooper is better. I think Cooper's all time. I'll tell you this right now. It's a separate thing. I saw another tweet today. It's like, hey, if you had the first pick, would you take Cooper, DeBonsa, Peterson, Boozer? Stop. Cooper is their age. He's scoring 50 in the NBA. Okay? DeBonsa, stop. Just stop with that stuff. It's not a slight to any of them. It's also not a slight to Cooper. Khan's case is being like the engine of the best offense in the league for 20 games. Like, it's very, very impressive what we see. As I've really gone through this matchup here, I don't really even do this like till we get to playoffs. You're starting with like who's going to guard who. I mentioned like Detroit has the best defensive rating. There are 2 guys with a defensive rating individually under 100 since January 1st. Wemby, Asor Thompson, pretty good. Oh, and Asor's ahead of Wemby. So if you let Duncan Robinson chase Knippel around, does Thompson take LaMelo or does he take Miller? And therefore Cade guards the other. I assume Asor takes LaMelo, usually on the guard, point of attack. It feels like it could be more of a 3-point shot, long threes kind of night. For Charlotte, I've looked at their team total, 15.5 made threes. That's interesting. I've looked at a 2-2-2, Miller, Knippel, and Ball, all to make 2, around -115. I think that's interesting. It's a tough game to bet, but you can tell, I think, through the breakdown, I kind of like Charlotte. I'm not playing them. It's a tricky spot. I've not been a part of the Charlotte wave. I know people have been making money off this team, but this right now is a matchup between, for the last month and a half, the 2 best teams in basketball, which is incredible that is true. Let's get Coach James Young in the mix after the break. We're live with you here on SportsGrid. It's Game Time Decisions.
Aaron Judge, no stranger to hitting 60 home runs in a season, but we certainly aren't going to put a FanDuel win total or even DraftKings at 60. So Sam, our producer, set it at 55. Aaron Judge will hit 55 plus home runs this year. You going to buy or sell?
All right, Aaron Rodgers here.
Oh, there
Aaron,
he is.
What do you think? What do you think, Aaron? Can you hit 55? Aaron Judge, right? I got it in my head here. 55 is asking a lot, Sam. It's asking a lot. He hit 53 last year, 58 the year before, 37, but that was the year he hurt his toe in Dodger Stadium, and then, of course, 62. I got to sell this. All right, you're asking for just to be 7 home runs off the record? I mean, no, he can't keep doing this every year here. Plus, he does have an injury history there. Although the last 2 years, he's been completely healthy. I'll just say no. Between possibility of an injury, teams waking up and going, nope, not pitching to him, I'll take the under here. Although, as a Yankee fan, he better. Because if he don't, Yankees going to be in a lot of trouble.
So I've decided to go by the letter of the law. Sam is not going to like this. Sam is not going to like my answer. Yep. Sam, listen. Sam leaves these little loopholes in the buy or sell. 55 home runs between 55 plus the regular season, postseason, World Baseball Classic, buy. Spring training, buy. Above 55 between spring training, World Baseball Classic, regular season, and postseason. Aaron Judge will hit 55 home runs. He didn't say this season. He didn't say this season. He said this year. The graphic says this year.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday, starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions on SportsGrid. We've got Coach James Young in the mix. JY, I want to get right to it. Okay, we're going to talk some NBA, but just tipping off Louisville, NC State. Let the people know what you're on.
Yeah, I'm on a Cardinal minus 6.5 against NC State. Listen, NC State has played pretty well, winners of 6 in a row. Louisville winners of 5 in the last 6. I just think the game is at the Yum Center in Louisville. That's a major advantage for a Louisville team that's played pretty good basketball, except for that blowout loss to Duke. But, I mean, except for Carolina, everybody gets blown up by Duke, so there's nothing to be ashamed about. But I'm going to lay the 6.5 at home for Louisville tonight.
All right, I am on Mikel Brown in that basketball game for 15. Chris is on Darren Williams in that game for 15. We will track that action for you. Xavier St. John's on the board right now. St. John's came out red hot offensively. It is slowed down. It is a long game. They are trailing by 3 to Xavier. JY, I want to go to the NBA. I want to go to Hornets Pistons because as people start to now, NFL season's done, really bet the association, they might pick their heads up and go, what's this number? Who's out for Detroit? Nobody. Charlotte rocks. They're just good. That's just where we are. I don't know if you're betting Hornets Pistons, but at the minimum, I want to know what you think about this game between the two hottest teams in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I mean, Charlotte winners of 9 in a row. I was high on this Charlotte team before the season began, Kevin, but you've made a great breakdown before the break. Does LaMelo play? Brandon Miller was out at the beginning of the year. They kind of fitted in, and I think we underestimated how good Con Knipple was going to be. When you put LaMelo in a situation where he's got 2 dynamic shooters, in Knipple and Miller, who could also score off the bounce, then you add Bridges, they're pretty good. So this is even though it's 2.5, and you're right, there's not a lot of teams in the NBA that are going to go to Charlotte right now and lay any kind of points. To me, it's crazy as it sounds. I'm still going to take Detroit. I'm just going to take a chance on them on the money line that they find a way to steal it. But other teams, including San Antonio, have gone in there and got their rear ends kicked. But to me, I'm going to take a chance on Detroit with everybody playing tonight. I'll take them on the money line.
All right, so let's continue to work through this NBA card, JY. It's a fun one. We've got a couple of games here in this 7 o'clock window. Heat Jazz. We've got Nets Bulls, Bucks Magic. Anything from you on the earlier part of this NBA card?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Bulls minus the points. I mean, let's be honest with you. but both teams are awful.
Well, hold on now.
But I will say this. Chicago finally did it right and punting and getting good guys like Anthony Simons, like Jaden Ivey. The Nets are so bad that they let a 20-point-a-game guy just walk out the door for nothing because no one would trade for him. Plus, shout out to Cam Thomas. We ever said this in a while, your big dummy award for not signing that contract before the season started. But anyway, I'm going to lay the points with the Bulls. Remember this, folks. The Nets are in full tank mode, which is another story for another day that we have to talk about. But when you think about this, the Nets only have 14 wins. I think the least amount is 12. The Nets are not going to even try to compete. Meanwhile, the Bulls are kind of hanging around for that 10th spot. I'm going to lay the 4 points for the Chicago Bulls on the road.
JY, my man, I did the same exact thing. I only take issue with one thing that you said, which is the Bulls are not that good.
They're better. I should.
No. Hold on. Let me clarify. You're right, but I adore them. JY, they compiled. It's just a bunch of dribblers. I've never seen anything like it. It's just like, hey, just chuck them, shoot them. They fire threes, but not in like poetry in motion way and just like a dribble time bomb way. They're a nonsense basketball team, but truly, I think they have a high offensive floor because of how many threes they take, and Brooklyn cannot really score without Michael Porter Jr. JY, actually, you know what? Can I bring something up? Because I'm wondering where you land on this. Miami, Utah. Interesting game, 5.5-point number. You know, Jaren Jackson Jr.'s out there. Larry Markkinen. Utah's played one game since the deadline against Orlando and have told me, do not bet Utah games in that one game. They just benched Jackson and Markkinen in the fourth quarter, lost that fourth quarter by 10. I do not want to get in the mud, JY, with these tanking teams.
No, you can't. Unless you do this, Kevin. If they're winning, go the other way.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just go the other way.
Right, the live fade.
What they did over the weekend is criminal. Only to be outdone by basically the Wizards, who traded for two guys who are going to sit out the rest of the year. They're resting Anthony Davis to be ready for next year. I'm like, it's February.
No, I'm sorry. I love that. No, I love that. Here's the thing. JY and I maybe haven't, we've been keeping in touch with some of this stuff, but I haven't given him my full thoughts that most of the teams who stink right now, I adore. Utah's just not one. I just love the Wizards. The Wizards trading for all these injured superstars is so funny to me. JY, let's break into this, 8 or 9 o'clock slate here. Wolves, Hawks, that's a fun one. Nuggets, Cavs. New look Cleveland with James Harden. Pelicans, Kings, gross, but maybe you're betting it. Anything in this window you like tonight?
Oh, this is the Fly Pelican. This is the
I knew it. I can just tell.
Parlay City, baby, Parlay City. Derek Queen over 11.5 points. 82% of his shots are in the lane. Who in the hell is stopping Derek Queen at 11.5 points? Nobody. Derek Queen over 11.5 points. I'll go the other way. Well, guess what Derek Queen doesn't do a lot of? Rebounding. Demonis Sabonis, back in the starting lineup. Over 8.5 rebounds. Over 4 in his last 6. Pelicans bottom 5 in rebounds per game to centers, giving up an 81% hit rate over the last 10 games. And then Jeremiah Fears, sneaky bet, Kevin, 4+ assists. It's big time plus money. Listen, when he gets 20 or more minutes, he's gone 4+ assists in 4 of his last 5 games. No Alvarado. Playing time is there. They have no point guard. Kings bottom 5 in assists per game to point guards. Give me Jeremiah Fears. 4+ assists plus money.
I took the combo rebounds prop tonight for Jalen Johnson and Rudy Gobert at 22.5 in Wolves Hawks. Each man coming off a single-digit rebounding effort. I expect that to bounce back here for a combo number. One of them could get 14 or 15, if not both. So that is how I want to play that. JY, on Nuggets Cavs, did Cleveland booked as a favorite surprise you in any way? I still don't know if we have word on if Jamal Murray is playing in this game, which is obviously a big deal, but I'm curious what you made of that spread.
I think a lot of people are looking at the back of the basketball card, and especially that exciting fourth quarter that Harden and Donovan Mitchell had. And now we're just going to book it based on what they think they see. Kevin, I am on the minority. I am not a big fan of what Cleveland did. I just don't know if it's going to work at the end of the day when it's those two ball dominant guards together. So to me, yeah, they can get the win. I don't like them at all. I think they're going to choke in the playoffs in my estimation. But really quick, going back to what you were talking about with that Timberwolves game, I'm going with a different guy you didn't mention. And that's Julius Randle, over 6.5 rebounds over 4 of the last 5 games. 5 straight games he's gone 7+ rebounds. Johnson's got a board. He's got to go board. Give me over 6.5 rebounds for Julius Randle.
So I love that. I'm glad we got to that. We'll go through some Kansas, Arizona, Lakers, Thunder after the break. I just want to say on Nuggets, Cavs, this is a game that I might end up betting depending on injury report and how the line settles. Jokic is probable, as is Christian Brown. So the questionable tag on Murray is throwing me off, okay? Because Jokic came back. They beat the Clippers. That's a good win. Lost to OKC, fine. Lost at Detroit by 3, fine. Double overtime against the Knicks, lost on the fine. And then the Bulls game, this, again, if Murray misses this game, this all makes sense to me. It's something to keep our eye on. More NBA and college with Coach after the break.
Aaron Judge, no stranger to hitting 60 home runs in a season, but we certainly aren't going to put a FanDuel win total or even DraftKings at 60. So Sam, our producer, set it at 55. Aaron Judge will hit 55+ home runs this year. You going to buy or sell?
All right, Aaron Rodgers here.
Oh, there
Aaron,
he is.
What do you think? What do you think, Aaron? Can you hit 55? Aaron Judge, right? Got it in my head here. 55 is asking a lot, Sam. It's asking a lot. He hit 53 last year, 58 the year before, 37, but that was the year he hurt his toe in Dodger Stadium, and then, of course, 62. I got to sell this. All right, you're asking for just to be 7 home runs off the record? I mean, no, he can't keep doing this every year here. Plus, he does have an injury history there. Over the last 2 years, he's been completely healthy. I'll just say no. Between the possibility of an injury, teams waking up and going, nope, not pitching to him, I'll take the under here. Although, as a Yankee fan, he better, because if he don't, Yankees going to be in a lot of trouble.
So I've decided to go by the letter of the law. Sam is not going to like this. Sam is not going to like my answer. Yep. Sam, listen. Sam leaves these little loopholes in the buy or sell. 55 home runs between 55 plus the regular season, postseason, World Baseball Classic. Buy. Spring training. Buy. Above 55 between spring training, World Baseball Classic, regular season, and postseason. Aaron Judge will hit 55 home runs. He didn't say this season. He didn't say this season. He said this year. The graphic says this year.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday, starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions here with the host of both pro and college basketball today, Coach James Young. Room for one more? We'll see you this Saturday, myself and Coach. I am very, very excited for that. JY, we got 2 big games to get to, but first, you are betting Sixers-Blazers tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Sixers on the money line on the road. Listen, this Philadelphia team has played really good basketball as of late. Winners of 6 of the last 7. Portland is 2-6 straight up the last 8 games. The only 2 games they've won, Kevin, was Memphis after the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade. So They have not been playing particularly great basketball. Sixers are playing healthy, and they're looking at that leaderboard in the Eastern Conference. They can make a little bit of a run. So I'm going to go with the Sixers on the money line. And to go with that because of the way he's been playing now, he's questionable, so he should play those still. Joel Embiid, folks, look as good as he's looked in 2 years. He's got bounce. He looks like the old Joel Embiid. Over 29.5. He's gone over 8 out of the last 10 games. Last 2 times he played against Portland, he scored 35+ in both games. Portland is second to last in points per game to centers. And the 2 ways that he scores the most are bottom 10 by Portland in points per game allowed, including the free throw line. I think he gets Donovan Clingan into major foul trouble. JoJo, over 29.5 tonight.
So talk to me, JY. Lakers Thunder. Are you involved in this one tonight?
I'm not involved in it because I want to see who's in and who's out. You know, Luka missed the game over the weekend. Is he going to play? And that may be a live game. I got to see what we get coming out of the blocks with that game tonight, which should be very interesting late night.
All right, so I do like OKC in that game. We'll get more into that in a little bit because I want to get coach's action here for what is the biggest game on this slate tonight. That's Kansas. That's Arizona. Number 1 versus number 9. Darren Peterson out there, fully healthy. I don't really understand this anymore. I guess he just sat the second half against BYU because they were up by that much. I don't know. It's interesting. What do you like here, JY? Kansas, Arizona.
It's going to shock people when I say this. I'm going to go under 153.5. Kansas, 5 of the last 6 games are going under this number. Arizona, 3 of their last 5. If you look at this team, these are 2 of the top 4 teams in the Big 12 in defensive efficiency. Kansas, especially if Darren Peterson's going to play a lot of minutes, they're not going to get with a bad hamstring. Kevin, they're not going to run up and down. They're going to try and slow this game down and play it at a pace that's good for them. Here's the other thing, and I noticed as a coaching angle, especially, for traveling. Arizona played Saturday late afternoon, 4 or 5 p.m. tip, I do believe. It's a 1-day prep, and they got to get to Kansas. So think about this. They played Saturday. They're not going to travel Saturday night. They're going to practice Sunday morning. Then they're going to get on a plane, and they're going to fly to Kansas. They're not getting to Kansas until 4 or 5 o'clock at night. I know it's all day. Shoot around today. I think this is a dog fight. Give me under 153.5 in Arizona, Kansas tonight.
Joe, I want to ask you this. If Kansas wins this game, what does that tell you about this team?
Well, what it tells me about this team, it depends on how it happens.
Okay.
What has really been really good out of Kansas is White, and especially the play. And the guy you're going to watch tonight is Flory Badunga, who is starting to come on and play really good basketball. Mm-hmm. Arizona struggles for rebounding. So if you're looking at props, maybe look at Badunga rebounding prop as an action you may want to go look at because Flory's been really, really good. The fact that Peterson got hurt and they started to have other guys step up and play, now when Peterson doesn't go, he doesn't have to get you 30 now. Now he's your late clock, close the game out. But with White and especially Badunga, they got enough guys here where if they win tonight, Kevin, you start to look at Kansas of, that's what we thought in the beginning of the year. Their win tonight is equivalent to what St. John's did over the weekend to UConn, which is to erase a lot of what happened before. And you're like, okay, that's a team I think I'm going to see down the end of the stretch, which then puts them in a national title contention. Look at St. John's. They beat UConn. They went up 8 spots in the AP poll on 1 win. So that could do a lot for Kansas if they win tonight at home.
On the other side of this game, Arizona, I want to put up their remaining schedule because it's a gauntlet. I know you know it. Tonight at Kansas, home against Texas Tech, BYU, at Houston, at Baylor. Look at this thing, man. Home against Kansas, home against Iowa State. That Colorado game is going to feel like a vacation with a pina colada per man. I mean, my goodness. How many losses do you see there, JY? 8 remaining games.
Well, I see 2 to 3. I think there's a chance. I think there's a chance they lose tonight. I think they're going to lose tonight. I think they're going to lose tonight. I think they're going to lose to Houston, and they're going to lose to Iowa State. And you never. And here's the thing: like if you look at over the weekend, for instance, Houston BYU, which that was a really great win for Houston. If Richie Saunders can hit anything, and I mean anything, and Dibanza can hit free throws, they beat Houston over the weekend. So when you look at BYU, the way that they shoot the ball, they're not going to have a lot of nights they have against like they did on Saturday. But the problem is, Kevin, is like everybody seems to play Houston, and then all of a sudden they can't make a shot. Like they literally can't make a shot. So I think it's going to be a rough stretch for Arizona, which still, if they come out of this with like 2 losses or 3, I'm not going to be shocked because of the level of competition that they're going to play in the Big 12.
Yeah, I think for Arizona, I tend to agree with JY. It feels like there are multiple losses on this schedule. I think them losing to one of either Tech or BYU is super live. Losing tonight as well. They will be a dog at Houston. There's not a single doubt in my mind that that's what that will be. I'm very curious how the books are going to treat this number with Arizona. They are right now the favorite. I think some of that is tied to, I mean, look, they're obviously great and unbeaten, right? But like Michigan having the better KenPom number, I think some of that is like Arizona's is just such a clean 1 seed where Michigan could still be battling for Illinois depending on how many they want to give to the Big Ten. I think that's on the board, right? Duke, we expect to get one of those 1 seeds as well. UConn's going to have a really good case depending on, if they can win the rest of their games. What would 2 losses do for the Arizona number? Conversely, if they win their next 3 games, are we looking at 3-1? Fascinating. And I know who I'll be talking about it with this weekend on SportsGrid. That's Coach James Young. We'll be right back.
Aaron Judge, no stranger to hitting 60 home runs in a season, but we certainly aren't going to put a FanDuel win total or even DraftKings at 60. So Sam, our producer, set it at 55. Aaron Judge will hit 55-plus home runs this year. You going to buy or sell?
All right, Aaron Rodgers here.
Oh, there
Aaron,
he is.
What do you think? What do you think, Aaron? Can you hit 55? Aaron Judge, right? Got it in my head here. 55 is asking a lot, Sam. It's asking a lot. He hit 53 last year, 58 the year before, 37, but that was the year he hurt his toe in Dodger Stadium, and then, of course, 62. I got to sell this. All right, you're asking for just to be 7 home runs off the record? I mean, no, we can't keep doing this every year here. Plus, he does have an injury history there. Over the last 2 years, he's been completely healthy. I'll just say no. Between the possibility of an injury, teams waking up and going, nope, not pitching to him, I'll take the under here. Although, as a Yankee fan, he better, because if he don't, Yankees gonna be in a lot of trouble.
So I've decided to go by the letter of the law. Sam is not going to like this. Sam is not going to like my answer. Yep. Sam, listen. Sam leaves these little loopholes in the buy or sell. 55 home runs between 55 plus the regular season, postseason, World Baseball Classic. Buy. Spring training. Buy. Above 55. Between spring training, World Baseball Classic, regular season, and postseason, Aaron Judge will hit 55 home runs.
He didn't say this season.
He didn't say this season. He said this year. The graphic says this year.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday, starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions. We're back on SportsGrid. All right. I'll tell you what, folks. Here we go again. Here we go. Can I just say something? Monday after the Super Bowl, you think, hey, could be a light night, right? I will also say, typically on this show, I feel on many of Friday, I give you, hey, boys in the back are on, insert horrific nobody's watching game, first half total. They just asked me to list multiple ESPN Plus games that they're on. ESPN minus is a pop. So Grambling A&M, what are we on in this game? Over in the first half. And I think it's because, and this will fit if you watch this show on a regular basis, I think Chris bet the wrong game. I'm pretty sure they said, hey, Chris, want to bet a game with us? He said, fellas, I'm getting a great number. Count me in. Chris, that's the wrong game. I believe the right game, with a very similar total, is McNeese Houston Christian. So that's where we are. I mean, really. The A-team is what they call them. The A-team is what they call them. At the break, it's 42-42, St. John Xavier. This live total should be higher. At first look, it's 165.5. Combined 13 attempts from beyond the arc is nasty. That is only 5 from St. John's. I feel good about my St. John's team total. What is that live number? Let's take a look here. 167.5 now in market. The St. John's team total's right on number. I'm not going to bet it again. I feel good about it. I don't hate the... it's a pacey game right now. I'm not looking to bet anything with Xavier. I think that this game gets where it's going. And that's how we're going to trust it, and that's how we're going to play it, all right? NC State, Louisville, 25-20. Louisville leads in this game. Our boy Mikael Brown has 5 early ones, so we're plenty pleased with that. Louisville did lead by as many as 13 early, so Copeland and crew cutting this thing back down to 5 is a job well done. No thanks to Darren Williams. No points early, but don't worry, it is still early in that game. Pistons, Hornets, let me tell you, good atmosphere. All right, we got eyes. They're playing, like, defense, hustle. You want some early season, you're getting it here. The Hornets have not yet made a 3, nor have the Pistons. And it's not a bang under, so, you'll take it. Beggars can't be choosers. 18-11, Detroit leads. Coming up in the NBA for me is Nets Bulls, where I will be laying 4 with Chicago. New look Chicago Bulls. Never has that sentiment been more true. Their starting lineup, 3 of the 5 guys were not on that roster before the deadline. The contributors off the bench, only one of them was on the team, and Pat Will. Rob Dillingham from the Clouds, Colin Sexton from the Clouds, Nick Richards, when did that deal happen? Jaden Ivey, Anthony Simons in that starting lineup with Gershon Yabusele. I'm sure you guys have seen the clip that's gone around social media of Jaden Ivey running up the court like this and then finding a way to throw it basically off of Simons' face. This team rocks. High offensive floor. I really believe that. They're going to attempt loads and loads and loads of threes, and that's going to be good for us because the Nets can't score without Michael Porter Jr., so I think the Bulls can actually win this game by double digits tonight, and that is exactly what we are banking on. I still do not have word just yet on whether or not their probable upgrade for Jamal Murray actually just came out 4 minutes ago. Let me see the latest number in Denver flips to -2. All right, so we can still read a number. That's fantastic. Don't need to bet the game anymore. Total big time up to 240.5. I thought Cleveland being booked as a road favorite was a bit disrespectful. It was clear and I think warranted questions around availability for Jamal Murray. He is going to play. Denver is going to close as a favorite. Tom Vecchio joins the show after a Super Bowl Sunday on a Monday on Game Time Decision.
Aaron Judge, no stranger to hitting 60 home runs in a season, but we certainly aren't going to put a FanDuel win total or even DraftKings at 60. So Sam, our producer, set it at 55. Aaron Judge will hit 55 plus home runs this year. You going to buy or sell?
All right, Aaron Rodgers here.
Oh, there
Aaron,
he is.
What do you think? What do you think, Aaron? Can you hit 55? Aaron Judge, right? I got it in my head here. 55 is asking a lot, Sam. It's asking a lot. He hit 53 last year, 58 the year before, 37, but that was the year he hurt his toe in Dodger Stadium, and then of course 62. I gotta sell this. All right, you're asking for just to be 7 home runs off the record. I mean, no, we can't keep doing this every year here. Plus, he does have an injury history there. Although the last 2 years he's been completely healthy. I'll just say no. Between possibility of an injury, teams waking up and going, nope, not pitching to him. I'll take the under here. Although as a Yankee fan, he better, because if he don't, Yankees gonna be in a lot of trouble.
So I've decided to go by the letter of the law. Sam is not going to like this. Sam is not going to like my answer. Yep. Sam, listen. Sam leaves these little loopholes in the buy or sell. 55 home runs between 55 plus the regular season, postseason, World Baseball Classic, buy. Spring training, buy. Above 55 between spring training, World Baseball Classic, regular season, and postseason. Aaron Judge will hit 55 home runs. He didn't say this season. He didn't say this season. He said this year. The graphic says this year.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions. The first bit of producing done all day was Yarnell coming up with a name to describe his Raiders love, which is day after the Super Bowl pick, and now I'm furious that we don't have that graphic. But I'll tell you this, you're going to see it at some point this week, it feels like. Kevin 7 tomorrow, 7 teams I already want to bet for the Super Bowl next year. There's a couple of them. We'll talk about them in a minute with our guy, Tom Vecchio. Always great to see Tom here. Did an excellent job yesterday, part of the in-game coverage, the halftime show right here on SportsGrid for Super Bowl 60. Tom, I want to talk about the game. The Seahawks winning 29-13. They cover. Over does not come in, which was going to be quite the beat for those who played the under, and it looked incredible almost all game long. What was your biggest takeaway from the Seahawks winning this game last night?
Seahawks defense is great. They deserve a ton of credit. We can say everything top to bottom. Sam Darnold, the pieces they put together, all that. But when it comes to the Pats, to me, the blunt answer is the moment looked too big for them. They were unprepared. And when you have the coach of the year and a player that is apparently the runner-up for MVP, they looked unacceptable. And I'm not saying they needed to go out there and they needed to be perfect. They needed to score 30 or 40 points. But what they did was unacceptable. What they did, and obviously being perfect, they needed to be somewhere in between, and they weren't close to that. So the moment was too big for them. They were here a year early. They didn't have some trial by fire to get here, and they were exposed. And Drake May and the offensive line looked horrible throughout the entirety of the postseason. And looking back at some of the box scores and seeing multiple touchdowns against the Texans, is nice. Or the Texans, because of all the turnovers. But he was horrible, and the offensive line needs a ton of work, and they need a dominant force in the receiving room to have a guy that they can throw the ball to every single drive. Because what they showed yesterday was unacceptable.
It was awful, Tom. I mean, when it brings up the schedule talk, it brings up the schedule nickname. How valid do you think all of that is after watching the game yesterday?
As I say with a lot of things, when it comes to sports, we have these conversations. It's not that the Seahawks defense was amazing, and it's not because the Pats' schedule was incredibly easy. It's both. It's not just one or the other. The Seattle defense was a top 12 DVO defense a DVOA defense of all time. Not just this past season, of all time. They were historically great. And the Pats had an incredibly easy schedule. So when these things collide at the same time, that is extrapolated, and it's extrapolated on the most important stage. So it's everything happening at the same time. It was Drake May over-exceeding. It was, Sam Darnold finally getting the monkey off his back, and everyone was saying, like, oh, when's the other shoe going to drop for Sam Darnold? Like, that didn't happen because he was awesome. He had a great coaching staff. He had great pieces around him. So everything happened at the same time, and it's bits and pieces of everything. It's not just one or the other.
Yeah, I think for me, Tom, as someone who really liked New England in the game, I ended up wrong.
Yeah.
I listen, they had a great season. I thought that despite the schedule, they were a really, really good team. They're not. They were more a product of their schedule than not. They're a good team with a quarterback who has a chance to be special and a smart coaching staff. But when push came to shove, this team wasn't of the level, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just what it comes down to, right? Like, for New England, say, like, hey, your best versus our best, right? New England's best wasn't elite 1%. They were opportunistic, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's one of the reasons to talk about New England specifically in the next year's Super Bowl market, Tom. That team is barely booked inside the top 10. Odds makers feel no obligation to give them respect despite being in the game.
Right, and the schedule that they have next year, is a tough one. Like, they're going to have to play a very tough schedule. I assume, and I already had this thought, that next year's schedule for them is going to be so much tougher, and that is also going to be compounded by people talking about the Super Bowl hangover. And when they start off like 3-3 or 5-5, everyone's gonna be like, oh, look at now I have to play a real schedule. This is the real Pats. They overexceeded last year. I can already see that happening. So, to the point about the coaching, like, there were some obvious situations they should have gone forward on that fourth down. I don't remember exactly where they were in the field.
Fourth and 1 at the 41.
Yeah, that's the one they should have gone for. And they also should have gone for 2 to make potentially make it an 11-point game. Like, my thought when that happened was they didn't have many games where they needed to be in those situations throughout the entirety of the regular season just because they were in control. We had a conversation in November maybe where you said, oh, all of a sudden you'd look every time and New England's up by like 14 or 17 points. Like, they never had those trials and tribulations to get them ready for the moments that they needed the most.
Yeah, I agree. As Mikael Brown is a first half winner for over the 14.5, which is just delightful. I know, by the way, that update comes from Chris. I know he's rooting me in. I know 18% of that is him making sure that I root him in, and I kind of respect that as well. So, yes, you're right, Tom. Like, there weren't a ton of tests this moment, but it's almost why I feel a little bit bad for Drake May, and that I feel like his guys didn't have him ready, right? I think Vrabel and McDaniels, who 1-2'd Coach of the Year, Assistant Coach of the Year, which, by the way, should never happen. That should never happen unless a team goes unbeaten. Like, which one is it? That's a ridiculous look, Tom, in my opinion.
Here's what I'll say about Drake May. I think the future is very bright for him. And I said this, I think it was this morning on the early line about Drake May and the Pats, where if you told me next year they don't get the number 1 seed, they win a playoff round, and then they lose the following season in 2027, I think they will be primed for a Super Bowl, because you need to go through these steps, right? You need to go through the steps of like learning how to win. And, frankly, they didn't have a lot of tough tests this season in order to learn how to win. They won games because they just, boat race teams, and all of a sudden they're up by 17, 20 points or whatever it is. So they didn't learn how to win in a lot of games. So if you told me they go to the playoffs next year and lose, I will be very interested in 2027 about them being actually ready to take that step and win a Super Bowl.
I will say this. It's I'm definitely going to end up on them week 1 because I feel like I already know their game they're playing. Have you seen this, Tom? I
know the schedule. I know who they play. I haven't looked at it as closely as that.
So just tell me if you agree, because it's a simple. Seattle hosts New England next year on their schedule. I feel like that's just going to be the Thursday night game.
No. I would say Seattle hosts LA Rams.
So this is going to sound crazy, but if I were the league offices, I know he's coming back. I don't care. I'm not throwing Stafford on the opening night. 2 live. Oh, something hurt in training camp. I'm not doing it. I think it's too. I'd rather. By the way, you might be right. I think it's one of 3 games. Rams, like you said, Patriots, like I said, or they go for the Bears. But the Bears would be like a clear third of that option. I feel like, Tom, you get the Super Bowl rematch, you probably don't pass that up. That's my thought. What's that line?
I don't know where the dibbing, like the dibs goes in terms of like that could be Sunday night game, Monday night game to, on one of the weeks, just so like the teams are actually in rhythm. We actually get a good game. That would be like week 5, something like that. Like they actually have the offenses moving at that point as they start off a little bit slow. That would be my only other thought.
Yeah, I get that. I know like last year, Eagles-Chiefs wasn't week 1, but part of that is the game was in Kansas City, right? So, but they threw that pretty early on in the year. All right, we're going to take a quick break. By the way, the Hornets Pistons game's really heated up. It's a fun game to watch. The Louisville also is going to score like 60 in the first half against NC State. We'll update the live board, talk more Seattle, next year's Super Bowl market with Tom Vecchio after the break on SportsGrid.
Aaron Judge, no stranger to hitting 60 home runs in a season, but we certainly aren't going to put a FanDuel win total or even DraftKings at 60. So Sam, our producer, set it at 55. Aaron Judge will hit 55 plus home runs this year. You going to buy or sell?
All right, Aaron Rodgers here.
Oh, there
Aaron,
he is.
What do you think? What do you think, Aaron? Can you hit 55? Aaron Judge, right? I got it in my head here. 55 is asking a lot, Sam. It's asking a lot. He hit 53 last year, 58 the year before, 37, but that was the year he hurt his toe in Dodger Stadium, and then, of course, 62. I got to sell this. All right, you're asking for just to be 7 home runs off the record? I mean, no, we can't keep doing this every year here. Plus, he does have an injury history there. Over the last 2 years, he's been completely healthy. I'll just say no. Between possibility of an injury, teams waking up and going, nope, not pitching to him, I'll take the under here. Although, as a Yankee fan, he better, because if he don't, Yankees gonna be in a lot of trouble.
So I've decided to go by the letter of the law. Sam is not going to like this. Sam is not going to like my answer. Yep. Sam, listen. Sam leaves these little loopholes in the buy or sell. 55 home runs between 55 plus the regular season, postseason, World Baseball Classic. Buy. Spring training. Buy. Above 55 between spring training, World Baseball Classic, regular season, and postseason. Aaron Judge will hit 55 home runs. He didn't say this season. He didn't say this season. He said this year. The graphic says this year.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday, starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, game time decisions. This group's ready for baseball. I know that much. Kevin Walsh here. Speaking of baseball, pro baseball today, Tom Vecchio, I know that those guys will be back sooner than later. This Sunday, Tom, is that right?
Yeah, this Sunday.
Well, folks, hit my line. I got a couple segment ideas for you for what you guys can be getting involved with. Tom, Seattle booked as next year's Super Bowl favorite. My take is they will not be the favorite when we get to September. What do you think?
won't be the favorite. I mean, that would require some pretty heavy odd movement. Now the Rams are, at least on FanDuel now, I'm seeing the Seahawks at 750, the Rams at 800. So to see those flip, I wouldn't be surprised, but there's a sizable gap to the next grouping of teams. So to see a team like Baltimore, Buffalo, Green Bay, LA, Philly, Detroit, any of these teams move from 12 or 13 to 1 past 8 to 1 would be stunning to me. Absolutely stunning.
Philly didn't hold on last year. They opened as the Super Bowl favorite, and we had both Buffalo and Baltimore in front of them.
Yeah,
I think Buffalo makes one big swing.
We're talking about a minimal line movement. We're not talking about like $4 a movement.
Well, I'll tell you this. Our team, Tom, has been looking around. One book doesn't even have Seattle as the favorite in their division.
Okay. I mean, that is it the Rams, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay.
But just like, I don't think they will close as the favorite in September. I think Buffalo will move in front of them with ease. If Bean makes a move, like, I think they'll be ready to move that number. No?
Move the number, sure, but go from 12 down to 700. That's a huge move.
I think it'll be a combination, Tom. Right? I think who's betting Seattle at plus 750?
No one.
I mean, who in their right mind?
No one. But if you told me Buffalo went from 12 down to 10, sure, and Seattle moved from 750 to 850, okay, I can buy that. But like going from Buffalo at 12 to matching them at 7 or 750, that's a lot of movement in one offseason.
So yes, I want to make this clear. Part of it is I think Seattle will move back. Tom, just if I offered you right now Seattle at 11 to 1, would that interest you?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Just the stability that they have in defense, and even if Sam Darnold regresses from last year in terms of his efficiency and some of those things, I still think they can make the playoffs, and having an 11-1 ticket would be good. They are good enough to win the division. The Rams are obviously going to be a big competition. It really comes down to what they do on offense, because Rashid Shaheed, we know, is a free agent. Ken Walker's a free agent. They need a little bit more on offense, right? JSN can't do it by himself. They need a real number true guy. I think Shaheed's like a good, like 2B kind of guy. They need another guy that's a 2A, and Cooper Kupp just doesn't have it anymore. Like they can't, that duo of Kupp and Shaheed doesn't work. And then figuring out what they do with Ken Walker would be huge. So if you bring in another receiver, you let Shaheed go, you keep Cooper Kupp, then I'll be interested.
So, man, I hear everything you just said, and I feel they won't be the favorite by April. Ken Walker's going to sign somewhere else, and they're going to just drop the Seattle number. Like, that's just the way the market moves. I just don't think they're taking action as the favorite.
I'm not saying Seattle, I'm not disagreeing with you that Seattle won't be the favorite come, let's call it September 1st. I don't think Buffalo's going to move that much.
I just think based on the offseason they project to have, Buffalo is one of the, it's like, oh, they're obviously going to move teams. I want to actually ask you a strategy theory question. So Fanatics has thrown out 50% boosts on a lot of futures markets day after the game. NBA, college basketball, but as well as the NFL. And I'm sure people are more than happy to use them in the NBA or college. With the NFL, it's tricky. For someone like you, though, Tom, right? At the end of the day, let's use, I'm just picking a simple one, right? 30 to 1 on Cincinnati with a 50% boost, you're now getting 45 to 1. If you take a 60 number on Minnesota, you're getting 90 to 1. Is that something worth betting to you, or ultimately too far away, forget the value, I can't get there?
It would be the latter. You could give me, I'm not going to say any number because that's obviously an insane thing. You know, betting a good number is more important more often than not. But I just don't want to have that money locked up for 12 months at this point. So if you gave me a team like even Jacksonville, who, you know, I do have interest in, whether it be them, whether it be Denver, you know, at 20 to 1, you throw the boost on it. I think that's an objectively good number, but I just don't want to have it locked up for 12 months.
Like, even, Tom, like, just to play the extremes of it, because I think this is interesting. Jacksonville, I see 20. If I said, hey, you can get a boost on it, you get him to 50. So that's more than, right? That's 120% boost.
Right.
But no, seriously, because I think this is something that people are struggling with. Do you bet them it's 50?
If I could get Jacksonville at 50-1, yes, I would put a quarter unit on that or a fifth of a unit on that, and I'd be willing to have that locked up just because that number is so good.
Yeah, but like I think that's obviously a very honest answer, but I think it's, I don't know, I think for some people out there, it's helpful. Like I know for myself, so Tom, personally, I think I could make a case that the Vikings number has value, right? And all of a sudden, if I think there's some value on a 55 or 60, it's like I got 90-1, right? Like, well, that's interesting. But also, I take a lot of pride, right or wrong, in my Super Bowl pick. And I don't want to, like, in the back of my brain being like, I said in Minnesota in February, should I stick to that? Like, and then it's just like, is it worth the... And for most people, like, there's maxes on them anyway. You're not playing these for 100, 200. That's not a thing. So at the end of the day, it's like, would I rather play that 10 or 25? Would I rather, you know what? Let me get a live Pistons Hornets bet, right? So I think that's pretty interesting. I want to hit the quick commercial break. We're going to close it out with Tom on the other side. I want to know if there's any action on the board that Tom likes still to come or some early looks for tomorrow, and then we'll fly through the rest of our bets. Reminder of the crew best bets with 3 of those coming in Kansas, Arizona later tonight. We'll be right back with you here on Sports Grid.
Aaron Judge, no stranger to hitting 60 home runs in a season, but we certainly aren't going to put a FanDuel win total or even DraftKings at 60. So Sam, our producer, set it at 55. Aaron Judge will hit 55-plus home runs this year. You going to buy or sell?
All right, Aaron Rodgers here.
Oh, there
Aaron,
he is.
What do you think? What do you think, Aaron? Can you hit 55? Aaron Judge, right? I got it in my head here. 55 is asking a lot, Sam. It's asking a lot. He hit 53 last year, 58 the year before, 37, but that was the year he hurt his toe in Dodger Stadium, and then, of course, 62. I got to sell this. All right, you're asking for just to be 7 home runs off the record? I mean, no, he can't keep doing this every year here. Plus, he does have an injury history there. Over the last 2 years, he's been completely healthy. I'll just say no. Between possibility of an injury, teams waking up and going, nope, not pitching to him, I'll take the under here. Although, as a Yankee fan, he better. He better, because if he don't, Yankees going to be in a lot of trouble.
So I've decided to go by the letter of the law. Sam is not going to like this. Sam is not going to like my answer. Yep. Sam, listen, Sam leaves these little loopholes in the buy or sell. 55 home runs between 55 plus the regular season, postseason, World Baseball Classic, buy. Spring training, buy. Above 55 between spring training, World Baseball Classic, regular season, and postseason. Aaron Judge will hit 55 home runs. He didn't say this season. He didn't say this season. He said this year. The graphic says this year.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday, starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, game time decisions. Let's fly through it here. Just a couple of quick live updates. We got our guy Tom Vecchio with Charlotte up 49-42 on Detroit. From beyond the arc, good stuff. LaMelo, Miller, and Knipple all at least on the board in some capacity. Tom, we're brothers in arms. Bulls, Nets. You're involved in that game?
I am. I am on the Bulls money line. It's a back and forth game now. 1 point, but the Bulls are just objectively the better team at this point. And with Cam Thomas leaving, the talent that wasn't a whole lot to begin with in Brooklyn is even lessened at this point. So Bulls. I just think they're going to take the win. It was a heavy price at 174, but it's really that simple for me. They come away with the win. They beat a bad Nets team.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. Listen, that's how a lot of people approach the Super Bowl, and they were paying more juice than that, right? We know a lot of people said, I like Seattle, I'm not laying those points. Even though, they ended up covering from the second quarter on the rest of the way. But sometimes playing that more expensive juice can make... Look, Tom and I, it's something that, I know I really like, but I talked through it again with Tom here on the show, the over Patriots to record a reception. You're not going to get better than that. 6.5, 9 guys caught a ball. Like it was just one of those things. So I was really, really pleased with that. Coming up still for the NBA for me, give me Jalen Johnson and Rudy Gobert over 22.5 combined rebounds. That's the head-to-head player prop market over on DraftKings. And then I'm late night going to lay it with OKC against the Lakers. That's at -6.5 at -114 on Los Angeles. No Luka, no Shea. Around even to the point spread, but in the matchup, I think Luka's absence is more costly. And with 2 straight losses for the Thunder, I feel like we're actually getting bottom of the market on OKC here. So I'm going to lay the 6.5. We'll update the college in a minute. But Tom, what else are you on, whether it be tonight or any early looks tomorrow? I know the Winter Olympics are in the mix.
Yeah, so tomorrow, Team USA plays Canada in the women's hockey. Team USA really should come away with that win. They are on the same group. Canada's best player, Marie-Philippe Poulin, she got hurt today. I'm not sure if he's going to play tomorrow. It's -150 or so for Team USA. On Wednesday, the men's get underway with Finland. I like Mikko Rantanen for a goal. They're going up against Slovakia. Slovakia should be starting, not confirmed, Adam Gagin, who's the goalie for Minnesota Duluth. If Rantanen can score 40 or some odd goals in the NHL, he should be able to get one past a college goalie. And then for Team USA going up against Latvia on Thursday, I like Jake Gensel at +140 for a goal.
Phenomenal. That Winter Olympics, had him on earlier today. I know Tom will be following it. Gabe Morency, obviously Sports Rage, and Game Live coming up. He's all over the Olympics, and not just hockey. This is where someone like Gabe shines. He gets in the mix with all of this stuff. College basketball, huge game coming up. Kansas, Arizona. AJ's on Kansas money line. I like the look. It would be the side I bet if I had to bet it. Darren Peterson for 25, 2-1. I might tail that. I think I'm sitting on like a little FanDuel $10 boost. Why not? Do we take him for 30? Let's just get greedy. Why not? Let's be pigs about it. I'm starving. Leftovers waiting at home. Come on. That's why you host a Super Bowl party, people. Get in the mix. Well on his way to 30 might be Mikael Brown. He's got 21 at the break. We'd love to see that. Darren Williams for Chris has 8. Pace. They are down 20, but pace. He's going to have to come out firing in half number 2. Johnny's team total live looks fine. They are trailing Xavier by 4, though, so they're going to have to wake it up a little bit. My best bet's going to be Arizona over the 77.5 team total. That number's been on the climb a little bit. Coach JY likes the under in that game. So, look, we'll see where it lands. Everybody's kind of in the mix here on the card tonight. Tom, Ryder, anything stand out to you?
I'll hop on a team total with Arizona. I know they're unbelievable this year.
My man, $100,000.
Sign me up.
Look at that. This is why, it's really funny. And I'll close with this. During the Super Bowl weekend today, got right back in the rhythm of doing the podcast, which I lost for a little bit. Look, comes and goes. It happens. Unintentionally, but I think he and I would agree, hilarious that Tom did not make it on all football season. Inevitable. Tom and I do about a 4-hour episode doing Dynasty Superflex rankings. It just feels on the board. At some point, we will correct that wrong. We appreciate everybody who's hanging out with us here. I know the football's done. There is still loads to come. March is around the corner. Are you kidding me? Speaking of around the corner, in Game Live, Scott Wetzel, Gabe Morency, you are in good hands. A thank you to Tom Vecchio and everybody who joined us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow right back here on the Decisions Desk.